The area around Central Station in Sydney is known as Tech Central. It's emerging as the #1 precinct for startups in the Oceania region and forecast to create around 25,000 new jobs in Sydney over the next 4 years. I'm here today to visit a new development at 477 Pitt Street, where an exciting community has been created based on ecosystems and partnerships to help entrepreneurs succeed. So let's have a look. Tech Central is a collaboration between Sydney City Council, Investment New South Wales and leading fund manager ISPT, who manage over $22 billion of property investments on behalf of some of Australia's largest superannuation funds. Chris Chappell is the CEO of ISPT. Chris, tell me, Tech Central, what is it and why is City of Sydney so excited about it?
So Tech Central is Australia's innovation hub based right here in Sydney. It's the centre of 6 thriving precincts, $3 billion of investment by the New South Wales Government, 25,000 new jobs, 250,000 square metres of new space. It's going to be the home to places that want to invest in new ideas and innovation and work differently going forward.
And of course we're at 477. How have you renewed this space?
Yeah, so 477 Pitt's been in our family of assets for nearly 25 years. But rather than demolishing the asset, we actually reconsidered what was the best use of 477 Pitt. So we repositioned it and took the environmental benefits of that. We created a flex space for our customers. We've got breakout spaces, the collider space, the rejuvenation of the AGL showroom, the outdoor terrace, there's some fresh air during the day, it's great. It's the creation of a community, and I think 477 Pitt has done a great job in doing that.
You've got a lot of tech entrepreneurs here, so how is this space contributing to that community?
Yeah, so I think that what we've created is a central hub of different ideas that are generated by different companies. And so we've worked with New South Wales Government and their operators Stone and Chalk, who have taken up 8,000 square metres of space here for Scale Up Hub. So that in itself is now the basis of great new companies that will then spread out to the new world. And I think the future of it has a huge potential.
One of the most thoughtful restorations here is the 1920s Art Deco AGL showroom. It's known as the Collider and is fast becoming one of Sydney's favourite conference spaces. Letitia Hope heads up customer experience here. This is a big, beautiful space. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, this is actually my favourite. So this is the Collider. The original AGL showroom, but we've really upped the ante and added a lot of tech. So we've got this beautiful movable digital screen, and we're finding that people are using this space, whether it be formal dinner, whether it might be a launch. We've just had the City of Sydney and their Entrepreneurs Summit here. So people are coming in for all sorts of things, and it's something that's quite unique, particularly in this part of Tech Central.
There is a lot of very special amenity here. Can you talk to me about how you're using that to energise the space?
Yeah, so we've got the big veranda lobby. We've also got the sitting room, which is just for tenant partners. So they can go in there and reflect, they can re-energise or maybe read, work quietly. We've got the outdoor space with the sun deck upstairs. We're also seeing people use the wellbeing space where people do movement classes, mindfulness, and then thinking about also our flex spaces and what people can use those for, whether it be their all teams, meetings, some overflow space. So there's an enormous amount of opportunity for people to think about where else can we be apart from just our own tenancy.
It's quite an unusual community here. The tenant partners they connect much more than I've seen in a lot of buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the part about the ecosystem is how do we foster and enable cross collaboration and connection to help build their businesses. But it might be even talent attraction and retention between businesses, but also from a community, how do we enrich, excite and energise people? So that's where we're thinking bigger and beyond whatever we have before. Indigenous
art and culture play a vitally important role at 477 Pitt Street. The building's showpiece is a 12-metre long LED display depicting the work of celebrated Indigenous artist Jacob Nash and was curated by Urban Art Project's Owen Craven.
Art in public spaces, I think, is incredibly important. What is a space without people is a question that I often ask clients, and how do we attract people into those spaces? Architecture, landscape architecture is vitally important, but one of the things that art does is it connects with humans. It tells our stories, it reflects our culture, it reflects a time in the past, or it reflects who we might be into the future. So this is a work by Jacob Nash. His work is really interested in elevating and telling First Nations stories, histories, narratives, and the importance of those. The work that we commissioned and we see behind us is called Country 2, and it's comprised of over 20 hours worth of footage that includes and explores land and country. So there's water, there's rain, there's dirt, there's sun, and there's language embedded throughout the piece. Jake started with a pretty simple premise. You know, he wanted to reflect upon country and the seasons, and the fact that our First Nations people have a different form of season to what we do in contemporary Australia. And those seasons represent not only the weather and how we feel, but also how people have survived and have created the world's longest continual culture of people. And Jake wanted to use his background in theatre to bring something to life in this space. He wanted to create a work that was dynamic and ever evolving, and to bring that quality into the space. And the work is just so powerful in its simplicity and charts a new course for who we are, and that's what art can do.
What's really impressive about 477 Pitt Street is the planning that has gone into the precinct development. A careful analysis revealed a clear opportunity to develop a sustainable future-facing asset, and then an ecosystem of complementary tenants was persuaded to work together towards a common objective. Michael Bromley and Karan Anand are tenants here. Michael, let's start with you. Stone and Chalk, tell me what it is.
So Stone and Chalk is, well, we call ourselves the largest innovation community in Australia. We are an accelerator, an incubator, an advisor to startups and scale-ups. Our job is really to help transform Australia into a technology-driven economy, and one that's sustainable. And we do that by supporting startups and scale-ups throughout their journey to help them succeed.
Yeah, amazing. And is that why you're growing so quickly?
Well, that's certainly one of the reasons. We think we're really excited about the fact that Australia is an incredibly innovative country, but what we don't have is a large population. And so I think we're growing because there's a lot of people out there who want to grow, but there isn't an entrepreneur career path. There isn't a designated way to go from a concept to market. And we're here to help do that, and I think people are really just latching onto that.
Yeah, beautiful. Karan, it must be lovely to be working in a building with such great tech startups. Did tech startups need different spaces to assist their business, and how does 477 assist there?
Sure. I think there's a particular vibe that the tech community is going for. And a lot of the things that you're looking for when, say, you're going to get a job at a big bank around job certainty, job security, is certainly not the case in a tech startup. You've got to be comfortable with ambiguity. You've got to be comfortable with things growing really quickly in your role in the company evolving a lot more. And so what we do is, whilst we can't give you that certainty and predictability that you might have at a big bank, what we can give you is that really dynamic, vibrant environment full of young people with lots and lots of ideas. And so for us, in making the decision to come here, it really was about, look, we're planting a flag in the New South Wales and Sydney market, and why wouldn't we do it in the place which has been earmarked by the state government to be the centre of that place?
Yeah, fantastic. So Karan, tell me about Henry, what does it do?
So we serve the roughly 2 million Australian and Kiwi sole traders who are often operating in conditions which are pretty challenging from a tax and financial admin perspective. The industries who traditionally serve them, the accountancy industry, the banking industry, aren't really set up for their business structure. And so we're sort of a one-stop shop when it comes to financial admin for the self-employed here.
Yeah, great. It must be so nice for you both to have the space here. And tell me about that, like the amenity in this building. What are you enjoying most about it?
You know what, for me, it's really simple. I like beautiful things. I just really enjoy the fact that it's a calming, peaceful, and comfortable place to be, but it's always impressive to be there. It's always something to be really proud of.
I'm loving exactly what you said, but also I'm loving watching the development of the building as well. It sort of mirrors our own development as a company, right?
Nice.
So hopefully in due course we'll be a much more mature company, and this will be a complete building as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just startups securing residents at 477 Pitt Street. Businesses like law firm Moray and Agnew are helping to create diversity and collaboration in the area.
Lawyers have changed the way we work over the last few years. What you need to be in is an area where people can be creative, if you like. The fact that they're moving into a space which has a number of different concepts around it, it's something that I look forward to coming to. And all of our staff, great feedback from our staff about how they're enjoying it.
477 Pitt Street occupies an entire block in South Sydney CBD and consists of a 32-storey office tower with retail spaces and a sublime upper-level sun deck that looks over a rejuvenated city park. What I find so exciting here is how one of Australia's leading contemporary tech workspaces has been imagined on a site that contains 3 heritage-listed buildings. John Wardle and his team are the architects. John, this site is very big and it has a big history. What have you pulled together here?
Well, thankfully those threads, those retained threads of history were here. A manse with its church, a fire station, and the gaslight building. They were 3 community buildings from another era. So to repurpose a showroom from another century into better express the values of the world we now inhabit is a wonderful story.
There's a lot of beautiful design in the space. Is there anything that really speaks to you?
Common framework of appreciation. Timber is certainly one.
Yes.
But the other one, the terracotta that we're using here. Terracotta is Italian for baked earth. Here, the terracotta is from the Minetti family, one of the oldest terracotta companies in Italy. They bought the company 350 years ago, and it was going nearly 200 years before that.
Wow.
They restore roof tiles of the Duomo and the floor of the Uffizi. They've been doing this for years. And to utilise their products and materials into a building here on the other side of the world in another hemisphere, to us, it adds to the story of the making of this building.
Yeah, beautiful. You've described this building as a blueprint for transforming commercial assets into the workplaces of the future. Talk to me about that.
That's a lofty thing
That was
to say,
That's what you said. It was very clever. I liked it.
It does. We have to think very carefully about the responsibility when there are outcomes beyond just the commercial plot. So for us to have a building that is in an area that's undergoing rapid transformation, you know, as a new tech centre for the city, and so how does it participate in the realm beyond? How, by opening up the edges of the building, something that participates and engages in this ongoing transformation of the area around it.
Yeah, wonderful. And John, I know you must love the building because you've decided to put your office here.
Yeah, we were sort of perfectly happy with our old office, which wasn't very old, and we thought, let's get in and actually be a part of the building that we've spent so long working with ISPT on, and that was the reason.
Yeah, great. And are you happy
As it
with
happens,
your space?
it's fantastic space. Yeah. We're particularly proud of the expression of materials. So it's really opened up the heart of the building on each level, was allowed us to feel, wow, it's a great space to inhabit.
While 477 Pitt Street is placed at the core of the tech startup sector, it is part of a bigger innovation ecosystem in the surrounding area.
What it is really, it's a place where ideas come to life. It's the best way that I can describe it. It's located in the central Sydney. It actually spans an area of 6 square kilometres. But of course, you can't put borders around innovation. The borders of innovation is porous. And Tech Central is connected to 6 other innovation districts across New South Wales, and indeed hundreds of other innovation hubs districts around the world. Tech Centre is already globally recognised for its quantum computing capabilities, for example. There's a lot of other digital technologies here within AI and cyber, fintech, etc. And let's not forget life sciences, huge in Tech Central. We've got one of the world-leading hospitals, the RPA here, alongside two world-leading universities, the UTS and University of Sydney. And we've got some leaders here already, actually, Atlassian, Canva, Afterpay, to name just a few. So, you know, it's got everything going for it, and it's already the engine of the Australian economy, not just New South Wales. And if we continue to support this, there is no limits to what it could become. You need, if you're having an idea, you need to be connected to the various parts of that ecosystem, the very resources that will fuel your growth. That's what an innovation ecosystem is all about. If these actors of the innovation districts are not connected, then you're not tapping into the full potential. So that's what makes an ecosystem hum. But at the end of the day, those intangible things as well, right? Which is really the research that's coming out of these hundreds of research institutions and universities that I mentioned that are located within Tech Central, and how it all aligns and comes together towards a vision. That vision being great ideas, talent, investment, so that we can really become that place that solves the challenges that are facing our world today, because we're all about making this the best innovation district in the world. What an amazing place to be.
William Walker is the Chief Investment and Development Officer at ISPT, and I'm keen to get his take on how the renewal of 477 Pitt Street has unlocked value for stakeholders.
If you think back 20 years ago, how we would develop buildings, you just wouldn't see the amount of third spaces that we see here today. The tenants are no longer wanting to just work in the four walls of their office, they're wanting to reach out and see other tenants. And I think what ISPT have done so well here, they're building a community within the building, and then the third spaces are there to support that collaboration throughout all the tenancies.
And I don't think you'd have seen that even 5 years ago, that you want to be in a space where there are similar occupiers to yourself. It's a big shift.
I think the thinking around curating the tenant mix has become more important, and we always got to remind ourselves the property business is not about bricks and mortar, it is about people, and essentially support that creativity and the innovation which is so important to this building as part of the tech precinct. It sort of gives it a deeper context, and what a great place to sit and relax and come up with hopefully the next great idea.
By utilising thoughtful design and Indigenous knowledge, Yarrabingan have created not only a green space where tenants can form an ecosystem of partnerships, but are also enriched by an environment of Indigenous narratives.
So Yarrabingan is run by our CEO Christian Hampson, and it's First Nations led. So that means that we do a lot of work with the Aboriginal community members. We talk a lot about being connected to country in different ways. And Yarrabingan actually stands for We Walk Together. So we walk behind the plants and the animals and how everything works together.
It's about creating an outdoor space that the workers in the building can come, the staff can enjoy it. So this is like a quick break if you need, come and sit amongst this beautiful garden that's full of native plants.
Most plants here have either a berry or a leaf or something that you can eat or add to meals or teas. We wanted people to have that connection to the plants and be able to forage and use the plants for their own lunches, for their own barbecues, and just to have that connection and be educated on those plants as well, so then they can grow them at home. We have an amazing lemon myrtle species, which you can use the leaves in tea. And we have a lemon-scented tea tree as well. Dianellas, which grow a beautiful blue little berry on them. Saltbush, it's been used in cocktails before.
There's also some native thyme, which just has this really lovely earthy smell. And I've got one at home, so I use it in cooking.
Pretty diverse range of plants.
I think people don't know that much about native Australian plants and the flavours you get out of it.
This is really important for wellness, to be out in a green space for the people that work here.
We want people to be surrounded by greenery rather than feeling like you're in the middle of this busy city with buildings all around.
Great cities like Sydney need to continuously attract investment and talent. and creating highly paid technical jobs facilitates this. Making that happen, though, requires careful planning, thoughtful development, and energised, enriched and exciting communities, like the one we've seen at 477 Pitt Street.